talking all about adventures because you have been invited on an adventure, and it is the adventure of a lifetime. It's anything but boring, and the company, you guys, is pretty amazing. The adventure that you have been invited into is the journey of knowing, loving, and following Jesus. And the person inviting you on an adventure is your Creator, the God who made you and knows you better than anyone. This adventure is a relationship. Your faith journey is an adventure because it's a relationship with the Creator of the universe. But how are we supposed to connect with someone we can't physically hang out with? Well, to answer that question, let's take a look at one of our greatest examples, Jesus. Matthew chapter 14, verse 13. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Mark chapter 1, verse 35. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Mark chapter 14, verse 32. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." Luke chapter 6, verses 12 and 13. One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray and spent the night praying to God. When morning came, he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them. Each of these scriptures represents a different way Jesus spent time with God. Jesus started his days with God. He ended his days with God and spent time with God when he was worried or mourning. Jesus also modeled this for his disciples, the people who were learning to follow and imitate him, by praying with them and in front of them. Scripture tells us that Jesus often went off by himself to pray. So is that it? Is that what we're supposed to do? Is praying in silence by yourself the way you're supposed to spend time with God? Of course not. There is not one way to connect with God, because knowing God is an adventure, not a formula. This is Half Dome, a famous rock climbing destination in Yosemite National Park. It's beautiful, majestic, and really difficult to climb. As recent as the 1870s, climbing it was thought to be impossible, but thousands of people now climb it each year. Since it took so long to figure out how to climb Half Dome, you might think that there is only one right path to the top, a super secret path that took humans thousands of years to find. Right? Wrong. There are hundreds of paths to the top of Half Dome, and humans continue to find more. This is exactly what spending time with God is like. God is beautiful, majestic, powerful, but spending time with God isn't as inaccessible as we sometimes think it is, and it might look a little bit different for each of us. If you think spending time with God is about finding the one right way to connect, you're going to think about faith like a formula. But your relationship with God isn't a formula you have to get right. It's an adventure that you're on. Maybe you already know some of the ways you connect well with God, but more than likely, you still need to discover some of the ways that work best for you. I want to challenge you this week to try spending time with God in a new way. Some methods of spending time with God will be easier for you than others, but even the methods that are difficult can still teach you something important. Whether you spend time with God in your room in silence, or riding your bike through your neighborhood, or dribbling a basketball in your driveway, or singing a song at the top of your lungs, I hope that you'll spend time with God this week, because a relationship with your Creator is the greatest adventure you can ever have.